Hello students, this is your history lesson. Today we are going to read chapter 5 Ancient Kingdoms of the Arya People from Understanding History for Class 6. So we start our lesson. This is page number 23 from the book. The Mauryan Empire 322 to 185 BCE. In 326 BCE, when Alexander of Macedon was in the Punjab, the Gangetic plain was ruled by the Nanda kings with their capital at Pataliputra. The Aryans had moved on from the Punjab and founded a large kingdom called Magadha in the area between the Jamuna and Ganges rivers. Students, Gangetic Plain. What is Gangetic Plain? The Indo-Gangetic Plain, also known as the North Indian River Plain. It's a 0.7 million kilometer square fertile plain encompassing northern regions of the Indian subcontinent, including most of the northern and eastern India, the eastern parts of Pakistan as well. Only two generations of the Nanda kings survived before a new dynasty founded by Chandragupta Maurya united almost the whole of northern India as one empire. Chandragupta was a strong ruler, and we learn about his reign from the account of the Greek historian Megasthenes, who visited the empire. The Mauryans traded by sea with the Persian Gulf in timber, textiles, spices, gems, and precious metals, just as the Harappans did. After Chandragupta, his son Bindurisar succeeded him and ruled for 25 years. By the end of Bindurisar's son Ashoka's reign, the Mauryan Empire stretched from Kashmir to Karnataka and from Bengal to the heart of Afghanistan. Students, do you remember what happened when Alexander the Great reached the Beas River in the Indus Valley? Why did his army refuse to go any further? One of the reasons was that the soldiers had heard of dangerous tribes on the other side, which had hundreds of fighting elephants. In fact, the soldiers had probably heard about the Nanda dynasty of Magadha. At that time, the kingdom of Magadha was the most powerful region in the subcontinent. The Nanda dynasty ruled Magadha from about 360 BC to 321 BC. It was founded by Mahapadma, who was born into a lower caste. Magadha was a prosperous region and its capital Pataliputra near present-day Patna was a wealthy trading center. Pataliputra was beside the Ganges River, and the plains surrounding the city were fertile and had timber supplies and mineral mines. The Nandas kept their power in two ways. They taxed the people heavily. This gave the Nanda royal family a lot of money. And they kept a huge and powerful army which included 200,000 foot soldiers and many war elephants. They were therefore able to take the treasures of neighboring countries. So the Nanda family was powerful, it was also unpopular. The Nanda became famous for their greed when Mahapadma died. 8 of his sons or grandsons ruled after him. But one day, a member of the Nanda royal family insulted a Brahmin priest called Katulia. It was a mistake which was to bring Nanda rule to an end. Chandragupta Maurya becomes emperor. Chandragupta Maurya founded the Mauryan dynasty in c. 320–21 BCE. The success of Chandragupta in gaining an empire relates to the story of a mother who told her son to eat his very hot roti from the outside to the center. His advisor Kautilya, a Brahmin, encouraged him to fight against the Nanda kings. Kautilya and Chandragupta started to conquer land from the outskirts of the Nanda Empire and finally reached the center and captured Pataliputra, the capital of the Nandas. Students, outskirts is the outer parts of a town or city. The last Nanda was allowed to escape with some of his wealth, and in 322 BCE, Chandragupta ascended the throne as emperor. Students, there are several stories about Chandragupta's birth. Was he the son of a noble warrior, the son of a Nanda king, or was he brought up in a village of peacock trainers? We shall probably never know. But later Chandragupta used the peacock as a sign of his rule. But we can say Chandragupta was probably the son of a wealthy man because when he grew up he went to study at the famous university in Taxila. In Taxila, one of Chandragupta's tutors was the Brahman priest Kautilya, who had left Magadha after being insulted by a member of the Nanda royal family. Kautilya wanted revenge. He became Chandragupta's advisor and together they plotted to capture Magadha from the Nandas. So Chandragupta tried to take Magadha. His first attempt failed, but then he had a clever idea. And an old story says that he got this idea from watching a mother telling her child to eat food around the edge of the dish where it was cooler, rather than from in the middle. Chandragupta used a similar method to take over Magadha. First, he made friends with the rulers of surrounding kingdoms. Then, in about 321 BC, he moved in and overthrew the last Nanda king of Magadha. Chandragupta became the ruler of Magadha and made Kautilya his prime minister. He was to rule for 24 years. He founded the dynasty of the Mauryans, which was to have a brilliant and splendid rule for over 100 years. At its height, the Mauryan dynasty ruled over almost the entire subcontinent as well as parts of what is now Afghanistan. Arthashastra Kautilya, Chandragupta Maurya's advisor, wrote Arthashastra on the art of ruling, and this book is a primary source of information about the system of government and politics in Mauryan India. Kautilya was educated at the university at Taxila and had first served at the court of the Nanda kings. Arthashastra tells us about the ancient social system of India, its problems and solutions to those problems. It is a detailed compilation, the action or process of producing something, especially a list or book by assembling information collected from other sources. So it is a detailed compilation of the rules of government, duties of kingship, justice system, espionage system, espionage, the practice of spying, of using spies, typically by governments to obtain political and military information. City administration, rules of diplomacy. Diplomacy, the profession, activity, or skill of managing international relations, typically by a country's representatives abroad, and advice for traders and merchants. The book encourages bribery. Bribery, the giving or offering of a bribe, and the use of alcohol and intrigues. Intrigues make secret plans to do something illicit. Intrigues to defeat an army. It advises that there is no harm in giving up your principles and morals to gain success in this world. The discovery of this priceless book was made in 1904 and it was published in Sanskrit in 1905. Since then, it has been published in many languages, including Urdu. Chandragupta was succeeded by his son Bindusar, who ruled for 25 years and extended the empire further. He was followed by Ashoka, one of his several sons, as the ruler in 269 BCE. Ashoka became a legendary king and is famous for patronizing, apparently kind or helpful, but betraying a feeling of superiority. Buddhism and ruling an empire which stretched from Bengal to Afghanistan. So students, we can say Chandragupta had complete control over the empire, which was divided into at least 4 provinces, each ruled by a viceroy who was often a member of the royal family. Chandragupta owned all the land and farmers had to pay heavy taxes. Chandragupta needed a lot of money to pay for his enormous army. It had 600,000 foot soldiers, 30,000 cavalry, 9,000 war elephants and thousands of chariots. Chandragupta was strict but fair. He knew that if he wasn't, the people might rise up against him. In the same way, Chandragupta had spies everywhere. They sent information to Chandragupta and carried out his secret others. Some were specially trained to assassinate the emperor's enemies. Chandragupta's spy system shows that he was frightened of his people. He feared being assassinated and so to try to stop anyone killing him. So students, after a life of luxury, Chandragupta gave up his throne to his son Bindusar and joined a monastery. Ashoka and his edicts. 8 years after coming to the throne in c. 269 BCE, Ashoka fought the battle for Kalinga, modern Orissa, in 261 BCE. After the battle, which left about 100,000 dead and 150,000 wounded, Ashoka was so upset at the sight of bloodshed and destruction that he vowed to never fight again. Vowed solemnly promised to do a special or specified thing. And eventually at last became a Buddhist. His attention was then focused on the welfare of his subject and the promotion of Buddhism. He had many stupas. Stupa is a traditionally Buddhist monument that houses holy relics associated with the Buddha. He had many stupas built, the most famous of which is found in Sanchi in central India. Ashoka also called the meeting of the third great Buddhist council at his capital Pataliputra. Students, by the time of his death in 273 BC, Bindusar had extended the empire so much that nearly the whole of the subcontinent was ruled by the Mauryans. Bindusar had several sons. One was called Ashoka, who, as a young man, was the viceroy of Taxila and was successful in stopping a rebellion against the rulers of the province. When Bindusar died, his sons were assassinated one after another until only Ashoka was left. Ashoka, who is sometimes called Asoka, became emperor. So Ashoka was a mighty warrior. He had a huge army and wanted to make the empire bigger. In 260 BC, he conquered the rich kingdom of Kalinga, now in modern Orissa, on the east coast of India. By doing so, he gained Kalinga's mines of gold and semi-precious stones, its farmlands, and elephant herds. He also won the sea route along the east coast, which was important for trade. But there was a price to pay. But after the battle, which left about 100,000 dead and 150,000 wounded, Ashoka was so upset and he changed his mind. He left this bloodshed and destruction and he decided to change himself and never to fight again. And at last he became a Buddhist. After Ashoka converted to Buddhism, he called his people his children. He said, I want to provide them with complete welfare and happiness in this world and in the next world. He tried to spread peace and harmony by practicing dharma, which means religious duties or universal law. Ashoka's exemplary serving as a desirable model. Very good. Ashoka's exemplary rule was based on humanitarian, concerned with or seeking to promote human welfare. Humanitarian principles. The direct collection of taxes on agriculture and giving justice to the people were the two main pillars of his government. He had a council of advisers, and from his ministers right down to the peasants, peasant, a small holder, a poor smallholder, or agricultural laborers of low social status. The emperor kept himself informed about what was happening in his empire. He reached out to everyone and preached tolerance among all sects to keep his empire together. Ashoka's edicts, carved into rocks and polished stone pillars and found across the Mauryan Empire, laid the foundation of justice and good behavior, not just for Indians but also for people across the borders of his empire. So, students, he used his power to try to make life better for his people. He also tried to change the way people thought and lived. And this way of ruling was revolutionary, different from all the rulers of the subcontinent before him. In fact, Ashoka was probably the first ruler in the world to try to spread his ideas throughout a large empire and to believe that a ruler should use moral ideas to guide him in his rule. Students, Ashoka traveled around his empire to see for himself what things were like for the people. He did not have spies anywhere but had inspectors who sent him reports. Students, Ashoka tried to set up a new system of government. He told governors of regions to be good nurses of the people and to respect local customs. Punishments were made less harsh. Ashoka decided not to go to war again. He made many useful improvements, including new irrigation system for farmers, including dams and canals, new roads and towns to increase trade, well and rest houses for travelers along roads, and the planting of banyan trees for shade, universities ordinary people could study, home for old people and orphans, and new hospitals, importing medicinal herbs and food plants, including mango trees. And to spread his ideas, Ashoka had his own sayings known as edicts, carved on cliffs, rocks, and special pillars throughout his empire. Ashoka's edicts give us a great deal of information about his reign. And the pillars were very huge, and they were made of fine grained sandstone, polished with great skill. At the top was a capital or sculpture, perhaps of lions, bulls, horses, elephants, or lotus flowers, so that people could understand Ashoka's inscriptions. They were written in the local language. The inscriptions were perfect, beautifully carved, and with no mistake. Students, Ashoka wanted his people to follow his dharma and be caring towards each other. To encourage them, he tried to set an example by leading what he believed to be a good life. He tried always to tell the truth. He treated his children as equals, whatever their religion or caste. Ashoka's edicts gave people instructions about how they should live. For example, in his edicts, he wrote, pay attention to relatives, pay attention to Brahmins, and be obedient to mother, father, and elders. So Ashoka died in 232 BC. He was followed by weak kings, and the vast empire began to decline because they set up their own kingdom and they started to establish their own rules and regulations. As without Ashoka's support, Buddhism declined. The caste system returned and stopped lower caste people from setting up businesses, which would have created work and wealth for the country. The Koshans. The Koshans were a Central Asian people who invaded India and went on to found a great empire. They occupied the Kabul Valley, the Punjab, and northern India. The Koshan king Kanishka 120 to 144 CE, described as the king of Gandhara, was the greatest Koshan ruler. He made Peshawar his capital. His empire controlled some of the main trade routes of Asia and grew rich. Kanishka adopted Buddhism and held the fourth great Buddhist council, but at the same time he allowed other religions too in his empire. He took many artists into his service, especially Greek artisans who built temples and statues. A new form of art called the Gandhara school developed, influenced by Greek, Roman, and Indian styles. Kanishka died after ruling for 24 years, and his kingdom survived another 100 years till the Huns came in the 5th century and destroyed it. So, students, in about 64 AD, the Kushans, led by their ruler, marched into Afghanistan and the subcontinent. The Kushans were described as big pink-faced men who wore coats and long skirts and sat on chairs. In a very short time, they took Gandhara and they ruled a huge land. Um, the Kushans went on to find a great empire as well. Kanishka is the best known Kushan's ruler and may have become king between 78 and 128 AD. He ruled for about 22 years. At the time, Kanishka was described as the king of Gandhara. He was a strong military leader who enlarged the empire. And the Kushan Empire was very large, covering lands on both sides of the Hindu Kush. Gandhara civilization. Gandhara is the old name of the Peshawar Valley and was ruled by a number of different rulers. Its capital was Taxila or Taxila. The ruler of Taxila, Ambhi, had made peace with Alexander of Macedon when he crossed the river Chenab. Taxila was also ruled by Menander, the Bactrian ruler, and Kanishka, the Koshan ruler. Gandhara became a center of learning with a university at Taxila where scholars and teachers came in search of knowledge. Kautilya, the author of Arthashastra, had also studied at Taxila. Many trade routes linking Central Asia, China, Persia, Egypt, and Europe went through the Gandhara region. The Great Silk Road, linking China with Western Asia, enabled Chinese travelers and pilgrims to come to this part of the subcontinent. The Gandhara region also gave birth to Mahayana Buddhism, which allowed images of Buddha. From here, Buddhism spread to Central Asia and eastward to China, Korea, and Japan. Gandhara became famous in the field of art because sculpture and paintings were influenced both by Indian and Greek artistic expression. Archaeologists have unearthed many of these samples of Gandhara art, unearthed to discover proof or some other information, especially after careful searching. And they are found in the Museum of Peshawar and Sawat. Students, like the earlier invaders, the Koshan rulers had a capital in Gandhara. Kanishka's capital was at Peshawar. And it was not only trade goods that traveled along trade routes, ideas, culture, and religions did too. In the time of Kanishka, there were important artistic and religious developments. The Gandhara school of art developed its special style of art, sculpture, and architecture was in the Greek, Roman, and Indian styles. This was the most important period in the history of Buddhism as the religion developed in new ways. Buddhism spread to Afghanistan, Central Asia, and northeast to China, Korea, and Japan. Questions. Question 1. How large was the Mauryan Empire? Answer. The Mauryan Empire, founded by Chandragupta and expanded by Ashoka. During Ashoka's reign, the Mauryan Empire stretched from Kashmir to Karnataka and from Bengal to the heart of Afghanistan. Question 2. Why is Ashoka a legendary king? Answer. Ashoka's rule was based on humanitarian principles. The direct collection of taxes on agriculture and giving justice to the people were the two main pillars of his government. Due to his exemplary works on welfare subjects, he called a legendary king. Question 3. What is the importance of the pillars he had built all over his empire? Answer. The writing on the pillars was in Brahmi script, an earlier form of Sanskrit. The edicts, besides giving information about Ashoka's life and his achievements, gave advice to the people to be kind to parents, friends, neighbors, and to animals. Furthermore, Ashoka's administration is explained in the writings on one of his pillars. Question 4. Why did Ashoka become a Buddhist? Answer. Ashoka fought the battle for Kalinga, which left about 100,000 dead and 150,000 wounded. Ashoka was so upset at the sight of bloodshed and destruction that he vowed to never fight again and eventually became a Buddhist. Ashoka believed that Buddhism is beneficial for all human beings as well as animals and plants, so he built a number of stupas. He also well spread Buddhism to neighboring kingdoms. Question 5. Who were the Questions: why is Kanishka famous? Answer: the Koshans were a Central Asian people who invaded India and went on to found a great empire. They occupied the Kabul Valley, the Punjab, and northern India. The Koshan king Kanishka 120 to 144 CE, decided as the king of Gandhara, was the greatest Koshan ruler. His empire controlled some of the main trade routes of Asia and grew rich. Kanishka adopted Buddhism and held the fourth great Buddhist council, but at the same time he allowed other religions too in his empire. Question 6. Where is Gandhara situated? Answer: Gandhara, historical region in what is now northwestern Pakistan, corresponding to the Vale of Peshawar and having extensions into the lower valleys of the Kabul and Swat rivers. In ancient times, Gandhara was a trade crossroads and cultural meeting place between India, Central Asia, and the Middle East. Question 7. Why did Gandhara become prosperous? Answer: Gandhara became a center of learning with a university at Taxila where scholars and teachers came in search of knowledge. Kautilya, the author of Arthashastra, had also studied at Taxila. Many trade routes linking Central Asia, China, Persia, Egypt, and Europe went through the Gandhara region. The Great Silk Road, linking China with Western Asia, enabled Chinese travelers and pilgrims to come to this part of the subcontinent. Question 8. What is unique about Gandhara art? Where are its specimens found? Answer: Gandhara became famous in the field of art because sculpture and paintings were influenced both by Indian and Greek artistic expression. Archaeologists have unearthed many of these samples of Gandhara art and they are found in the museums of Peshawar and Swat. Question 9. What was the religion of the people of Gandhara? Answer: the Gandhara region gave birth to Mahayana Buddhism, which allowed images of Buddha. From here, Buddhism spread to Central Asia and eastward to China, Korea, and Japan. Fill in the blanks. Dash united India under one rule. Chandragupta united India under one rule. 2. The Mauryan Empire stretched from dash to dash and from dash to dash. The Mauryan Empire stretched from Kashmir to Karnataka and from Bengal to the heart of Afghanistan. 3. Historians gathered evidence from the dash left by Ashoka about his rule. Historians gathered evidence from the edicts left by Ashoka about his rule. 4. When Mauryan rule declined, dash lost its importance as the capital city of Indian rulers. When Mauryan rule declined, Pataliputra lost its importance as the capital city of Indian rulers. 5. In the northwest of the subcontinent, 4 invaders came one after the other. They were the Bactrian, Greeks, Shaks, Parthians, and Koshans. 6. Gandhara is the old name for the Peshawar Valley. 7. Gandhara became famous because of its unique sculpture and art. Looks like mixture of Indian and ancient Greek. 8. The Kushans occupied Kabul Valley, the Punjab and northern India. Thanks for listening. For new videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you like my videos, please share and like.